All right. Unfortunately, DEP was not allowed to attend this event, but that didn't mean that they weren't really enthusiastic to help. I'd like to thank the extra effort from Nisha Patel, the Assistant Director of the Municipal Wastewater at DEP, and her staff as they compiled a video that we're going to play for you right now. Unfortunately, we won't have the ability for Q&A just because it was done ahead of time. But we printed out a handout that you may have gotten at the front door, or you can have you can pick up on your way out. That has all the speakers in this video and their email addresses, their names. So please take notes. If you have questions, feed them back to DEP. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. And remember, you'll have the opportunity to review this video presentation. We're going to upload it on our website. So if you didn't pick up on something or you thought you misheard something, you'll be able to play it again. So I'm going to play that video for you now.
Hi, good morning to the members of CAWPCA. Thank you very much for the opportunity to provide DEEP's updates at your spring workshop. We're sorry we can't be with you in person. Hopefully times are different and next year we'll have that opportunity. But again, thank you for the opportunity for department staff to present a couple of updates to you. I'm Nisha Patel, the Assistant Director of the Municipal Wastewater Program, and I'd like to first introduce Chris Faulk to you. He's going to be talking about QBS requirements. So Chris, kick it off, please.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, and thank you for the introduction. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here today. As Nisha said, my name is Christopher Faulk, and I'm a sanitary engineer with the Municipal Wastewater Section and Deep Water Planning and Management Division. I'll be giving a brief overview of the QBS process, which is qualifications-based selection, which is required by the Clean Water Fund regulations for the procurement of engineering services. So as defined by the Connecticut QBS Council, qualifications-based selection is a fair and objective process for selecting the services of design professionals who are most qualified for a particular project based on competence and experience, not cost. The goal of QBS is to find the most qualified people for the job. The regulations requiring the use of QBS for projects seeking Clean Water Fund assistance are found in RCSA section 22A-482-4I. To be clear, any project seeking financial assistance through the Clean Water Fund program must follow QBS procedures for procurement of engineering services that are laid out in the regulations. So why use QBS and what are the benefits? The QBS process has two main benefits that I'll be talking about. The first being that QBS protects public welfare. The engineering of critical infrastructure, such as wastewater treatment plants, is a highly skilled service and is far too important to leave to the lowest bidder. It would be akin to going to the cheapest doctor for a medical issue or hiring the cheapest lawyer to get you out of legal trouble. You get what you pay for. You must keep in mind that the design services provided directly affect the health and welfare of the community. A poorly designed and inefficient plant that's not meeting permit limits is a hazard to water quality and the community as a whole. Another benefit of the QBS process is to the taxpayer. Over the life of the project, engineering and design services really make up a minuscule portion of total project costs, typically less than 2%. However, these services play a major role in determining overall project costs. A well-designed project by a highly qualified firm will stay on time and on budget, solve construction and operational challenges, experience fewer change orders during construction, enhance performance of the project, and reduce long-term maintenance and repair costs. In fact, a 2009 study found that using the QBS process results in lower construction costs and lower schedule growth, both of which are benefits to the taxpayer. So procurement of engineering services is really not something you want to pinch pennies on. The foremost priority is that the work is done right and done well, and you can't achieve that without a competent consultant. So here's a quick overview of the QBS process. You'll first want to identify the project's needs and goals and develop a project summary. You'll want to include things like the type of work that needs to be done so that prospective firms can present their relevant qualifications, a timetable to complete the work, and the funding mechanisms to be used, etc. You want to establish an interview committee that includes people with technical knowledge. This could be WPCA members, Director of Public Works, town engineer, the treatment plant superintendent, and so on. You'll also need to establish uniform criteria against which all firms will be judged. This can include qualifications of the personnel assigned to the project, the ability and resources to perform the necessary tasks within time constraints, the firm's awareness of existing project issues, as well as their previous work on similar projects and the quality of that work. Once these steps are completed, you can issue the RFQ, which includes the project summary and judging criteria. All of the RFQ responses are then evaluated, and the top firms are ranked on a short list. The owner then conducts interviews with all of those top firms and chooses the most qualified one. The owner then develops the scope of services jointly with the selected firm, and only then does negotiating begin. If the owner is unable to reach an agreement with the top firm, negotiations are terminated and the next most qualified firm is chosen. But the caveat to this, once the owner has terminated negotiations with a firm, that firm can no longer be considered at all for the contract. One more important thing to note is that if the municipality is in the design construction phase of a project and is satisfied with the qualifications of the firm which performed the planning and design work, and QBS was followed for that process, then a new RFQ is not required and they can use the same consultant for the design and construction phase. So lastly, are the submission requirements for QBS certification. After the owner municipality has the proposed sub-agreement in a final form, a few things must be submitted to DEEP so we could verify that the process was followed correctly. We usually like to see a copy of the public notice as it appeared in the publication, a copy of the invitation to make the presentation to the interview committee, a list of people on the interview committee, the cost and pricing data that was selected, that the selected engineer submitted, including man-hour estimates by task and EPA 5700 forms, as well as, of course, a copy of the proposed contract. So that's all I have. If you have any questions or want more info, feel free to send me an email. We offer a QBS guide to municipalities, which has great information, checklists, and forms, which are really helpful for guiding owners through that process. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, Chris, for that summary of QBS requirements. So now I'm going to transition to our next speaker, who is Ann Straut, and she's going to be talking about sewage right to know.
I'm Ann Straut. I'm with the Municipal Wastewater section, and I am a sanitary engineer. And for some reason, my screen doesn't want to go to a full slide. There we go. But now it's on the wrong slide. So the history of the sewage right to know legislation, for those of you that might be new to this, it started with a public act in 2012, Public Act 1211. It required posting of bypasses on the DEP's website. And it also required, there's a static CSO map that shows anticipated CSOs during rainfall. That has all been done. This is also when we started the current system that we have with the ESRI. And I know people that have been involved in it are not fans of it as much as DEEP is. So we'll talk about that in a second. The second public act that came through, Public Act 1897, was effective October 1st, 2018. It defined an electronic report. It required all reports under Section 22A 424.3 to be submitted electronically. There are also requirements in the permit for reports to be submitted electronically. It required notification of the CEO of the municipality within which the spill occurred to happen, and that CEO was supposed to notify downstream affected communities. It also added a penalty section under 22A 438, and now we're into 2021. There is a current bill Senate Bill number 927, which has passed the Senate and was placed on the House calendar. It's tentatively effective October 1st, 2021, and it requires DEEP to post annual summaries for each municipality, which is new. It requires DEEP to implement real-time notification for the public that the public can sign up for, which is new. And it also changes the CEO notification requirements. Under the old act, anytime you had a spill of 5,000 gallons or more, you had to notify the CEO in which the spill occurred. They've changed it to be that anytime that the operator becomes aware of a sewage spill or permitted sewage bypass that reaches a water body or may come in contact with the general public, then now you also have to notify the CEO and local health official of the municipality where the sewage spill or permitted sewage bypass occurred, and the CEO and the local health authority of any downstream municipalities that might be affected by the spill. And so this expands the definition of the spills that you have to report. So anything that reaches a water body or may come in contact with the general public, and it's any sewage spill or permitted sewage bypass, which would be your secondary treatment bypasses and your combined sewer overflows. We're working towards a new sewage right to know system update. You may have seen the subscriber agreement go out on the listserv. We've also sent them to all the CEOs of all the municipalities that should be required to report. This includes not just municipalities with wastewater treatment plants, but also municipalities that have satellite systems. So if you only have a collection system and it goes to another town's collection system, you will be required to submit a subscriber agreement. The subscriber agreements have a Part D. That Part D must be signed by the chief elected official of your municipality or the WPCA chairperson. Part E is for the subscribers. So those are the people that are going to be reporting to us. So anybody that's going to do the actual reporting has to fill out a Part E, and you need a separate one for every person that's going to submit, even if that's the CEO or the WPCA chairman. So a Part E has to be filled out for everybody. And the agreements are due back to DEEP on or before July 1st, 2021. The new system, which we're working on, will use the QSend Q alert system. I know a couple towns and cities in the state already use this system, so you may be familiar with it. Training will occur once the agreements are returned and can be done at your leisure via video. We'll let you know when those videos are available. QSend is currently working on them. Once you are live in the system, you will receive an email confirmation saying that you're live, and it will give you your username and password that you have to immediately change in the system. Each subscriber will have a unique username and password, and you will need to have individual emails for password reset. We'll reach out to you if you submit a generic email that more than one person has to update that in our system. More information will be coming out in the next 2 months on where the listserv is, on the listserv, where the new system is, what's going on, how to get into the training, etc. So watch the listserv, and if you're not on it, send an email to me, ann.straut, S-T-R-A-U-T, @ct.gov, and I'll get you on that listserv. And then I only have pictures of the new system if you guys really are interested in what it's going to kind of look like. Everyone will have access to all the reports now, but we'll know who put them in. Everyone that's in a group will be able to make changes to the reports in your group. So if you're all from one facility, you'll all be able to see all the reports that have been submitted and make changes. But more information coming. And that's all I have. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you very much, Ann. So we're going to transition again to our next topic, which will be a reminder on various permit requirements. So Susan Unger will describe and provide an update on those.
Good morning, folks. I'm Susan Unger from Connecticut DEEP, your friendly local neighborhood WPCF inspector. Here to talk to you a little bit about reporting requirements. Whoops. The federal e-reporting rule, as you all know, came effective in 2018. Part 1 of that federal electronic reporting rule has to do with DMRs. Everyone must be submitting their DMRs electronically by now. There are a couple of holdouts here in the state. We will be paying attention to those folks this year. The biosolids rule also is covered under this. Although Connecticut is not a biosolids authorized state, I thought I would add this slide so that those of you who do have to report know that you have to do it through the NetBio site annually by every February 15th. As far as DEEP is concerned, we're looking for 3 things pretty much: MORs, NARs, and ATMRs. Dewatered sludge reports, we don't have an e-file yet set up for those, so those can still be snail mailed to Craig Mataski at 79 Elm. But as far as MORs and ATMRs are concerned, we have the following mailbox set up to receive those: deep.wpcf@ct.gov. And as usual, those forms need to be submitted by the 15th of the month following the month of reporting. Now, I've seen some interesting things come through these emails, so I've developed a couple of guidelines that I would really appreciate if you folks would follow. First of all, please note the facility name or at least the permit number in the email header. It's a lot easier to find your submission that way. Second, please only submit MORs or ATMRs to this mailbox. We don't need DMRs. We get those out of NetDMR when we need them. We don't need NARs because those go separately to Ileana. And third, please submit each document, MOR or ATMR, as a standalone file, and I should have also added in this slide, as a separate email. If you send multiple reports together as one PDF, we can't split them out. If the email header says it's an MOR, I'm going to file them all under MOR. So please send MORs separately, send ATMRs separately to ensure that they get filed properly. Now back to NARs, of course. Those still go to Ileana at deep.nar@ct.gov. Please be sure to only send the electronic form that we provided to you. It used to be called NAR2 back in the day. And please don't send any more NAR1s. Actually, all that information is now included on your MORs, so you don't need to send that. Don't spend your time sending a report that we don't need. And remember that reworked NAR2s and PDFs submissions to the NAR mailbox can't populate that database, which may force us to re-enter data, which can lead to miscalculation of nitrogen trading credits. So please be sure to use that electronic form. Oops. And finally, electronic sewage right-to-know bypass reporting. Everyone should be familiar with this by now. No later than 2 hours after becoming aware of a sewage spill or an effluent limit exceedance or monitoring equipment failure or failure of any major component in the treatment plant that may result in an effluent violation. We need to know about those within 2 hours. It's all spelled out in your permits. And as Ann just mentioned, there are CSO reporting requirements. Information can be found in your permit and in the sewage right to know law for those of you special folks who have those CSO communities. And that's it for me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Susan, for those helpful reminders. And then finally, to round us out here, I'm going to hand it off to Syed Bukhari, who's going to be talking about where we are on the Clean Water Fund priority list.
Thank you, Nisha. Hello, everyone. My name is Syed Bukhari. I'm a sanitary engineer with the Municipal Wastewater section, and I will be providing a brief summary for this year's priority list. This year's priority list covers both fiscal years 2020 and 2021. The total amount of available funding was $532 million, in which 7% of that was federal funds and 93% of that was state funds. As is done in the past, projects were submitted to the department using the project request form, and those projects were then rated based upon the Clean Water Fund priority point rating system. In the priority list document, you will find two tables. The first table is within the text of the document, which is the fundable construction projects table. This table lists the projects that received the highest number of priority points and which are also ready for construction at this time. In this table, you will mostly find CSO projects as well as treatment plant upgrades. The next table is table 1, which is at the end of the priority list document. This table lists all of the project request submissions that were received and point rated by the department. The fiscal year 2020 and 2021 priority list also provides various funding reserves for projects that may fall under a different category. This includes things such as planning, design, collection system, which is a loan-only reserve, green infrastructure, and small community. The draft priority list was posted on the Connecticut DEEP website in February of 2021. There was a public comment period provided in which comments were submitted to me via email. Once the 30 days were concluded for the public comment period, the priority list hearing took place in which people outside of the department could provide written or oral testimony. The hearing was held on March 30th, 2021 via Zoom. The public comment period for the priority list was originally supposed to end on that same date. However, we extended it to April 6, 2021. At this time, we are currently finalizing the draft priority list as well as the hearing examiner's report, which will display all of the written and oral comments received during the public hearing. If you have any questions regarding the priority list, please feel free to contact me via email. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Syed. And I will also mention that we hope to finalize the priority list within this month so that it will be available in the very near future. And understanding that the issuance of this priority list was quite unique. It was done later than we have generally done it due to a whole host of reasons, COVID being a primary one. But later in the year, we expect to put out another call for projects so we can get back on cycle for fiscal years 22 and 23. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you again for the opportunity to provide information on various topics related to DEEP. And we wish you the best of luck with the rest of the workshop. Thank you.
It was pretty smooth, actually, and I really appreciate Nisha and her group for putting that together. I think it's fairly useful. Like I said before, if you have questions for DEP, we do have a handout that has all their contact information on it, so I encourage you to reach out to them. Given the circumstances and the fact that they couldn't come, I thought that was the best thing we could provide.